Lord, let me find him, that I may see Matt safe behind bars. I will never rest till then. This I swear by the stars. Oh yeah, those who follow the path of the righteous shall reap their reward, infidels. And if you fall as Lucifer fell, the flame, the sword, as we're about to light it up with the flame here on your AEW Dynamite review Thursday. MSG waiting for El Sexico, but it's Hacker Hamin ready to light him up, tote him up. Yalla!
Pop, we're back.
For now, until the channel goes down mid-show.
We're back, dude, for another edition of Light the Feuds. I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of news, abundance, a lot of disgusting individuals in the world of professional wrestling. Just another day, right?
I mean, it's filled with them, and it's just they're being exposed is all.
You might say.
When they say protect the biz, that's what they really mean, bro.
That's what they really mean.
It is. It really is. Always keep your mouth shut, never rat on your friends, even if your friends are piles of shit inside this business, man.
And that's a crazy place to think about to be mentally.
So you want to be in the business,
be in the mob, and you can come join the mob. Yeah, exactly.
People can't walk straight lines in the business. Some of these brothers can't rhyme in the business. Say, yo, I'm trying to get mine. The business. Yeah, man. It is. It was a crazy day of headlines earlier with the now blocked ultra class declassified kayfabe Friday taping of Thursday taping of the Friday Locker Room. Showed the Jamin Olivencia opening and a little bit of the Vince clip to talk about it, and took all of 2 minutes after the show was done to have that show blocked here on YouTube and Hamin channel. It's just an insane week again of more and more amped up, complete censorship from nameless, faceless, judgmental cocksuckers who get to decide where we go in some new left-wing communist fucking world. I know these words get thrown around, but it's beyond what early Nazism was and statism of what they're doing. So I got a feeling we'll be in court by 2022, unfortunately, and because they're not going to stop. I even got from one of our great listeners earlier that his wife was kicked off of Facebook, and then it was a security issue because they weren't sure, because what she had posted goes against her usual posts of conformed thought, and now she has to make a video to convince the nameless, faceless people at Facebook that it's really her. So it's just unreal, bro. Like, I'm not here to call and advocate. I want the Masters destroyed. There's no doubt about that. So I guess I am calling for some type of violence. But to just have this more and more unpersoning and who gets to survive and who doesn't, man. Like these people who go and fly planes into the IRS, or people who show up at YouTube with angry lone gunmen, you're starting to root for them.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's in all sectors too. I mean, I've now been in two, like the largest South Park groups, 15, 20,000 groups. One I became a moderator of. And I only got to be a moderator for a month before the group was just axed this week. And I was discussing it with my buddy Darren. He was like, dude, I don't know if a South Park group can continue to survive on Facebook or social media, because every line can be misconstrued against their standards and practices.
And I'll put the heat on them. Where is Matt Stone and Trey Parker sitting on millions and millions of dollars? Why aren't they stepping up, leading the charge for the rest of us to be able to say, do whatever the fuck we want if they've already been over and they've got the money to do
doing it on TV, then they get paid $500 million to keep their mouth shut.
It's fucking unbelievable, bro. And that's the sickness of it. That's where
it's like, it seems like these content creators or artists, whether it be a Seth MacFarlane, Matt Groening, if you want to talk about these animators, they always do it in subjective ways where they're trying to get information out to you, but they can't fully come out and tell you because they're protecting their spot, right? They're afraid to lose their
spot. Now
spot.
They have the money to turn around and throat punch these pieces of shit who could never do what they do, but are the ones who are the gatekeepers it's now their time to fucking take the samurai sword and chop their heads for the rest of us. And then they become the top people at these fucking places that are undeniable.
I mean, I can't disagree with it. They already kowtowed to HBO by letting them like take off 2 episodes that weren't in the banned episode list. And then
Joe Rogan on Spotify, same thing, bro. Yeah. It's just, you're pushing towards a level of listeners who aren't even content creators, who may not be the most stable, who may be waiting in your parking lot for you, and you wonder where the next fucking mass shooting is going to come from. And you keep pushing people and taking away the bread and circuses and telling what can and can't be for thought. You're going to, and they want that. They want to create that problem. So the reaction of the people is one, so they have the solution to drop on you that's already in play, bro. But we just got to get them all at once. All 1,500 of them. They all got to go, from Bill Gates to Susan Wojcicki or whatever fuck face name she is, to the queer deer at Twitch. They all got to go. They all have to be lined up and fucking assassinated.
Yeah. Strong words from Ben Hamin to start the show. Well, as we're continuing to wait for Chris Silvio here, I also want to put over our sponsors. Oh, wait, there he is. The psychedelic Sexian is going to be gracing us with his presence as he makes the long run-in. Hello, Mr. Chris Silvio. Welcome back to your show, sir.
Sil, you there, pal?
Hello, boys. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties today, as per usual. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Coming in.
Yeah, you were a little bit
Can you see me?
Yeah, you're good right now. It's just freezing up a little bit. We can hear you. As I call for the assassination of every major board member of entertainment companies.
To miss all that. Good time.
Wow.
He's hot. Yeah. 5 minutes in.
It's insane, bro. Go ahead.
Did you get the new B12 photo shoot that I sent to you?
I did. You look phenomenal. I wanted Stevie was flexing his B12, so I got to get some of that Florida water myself. I've been working hard though, taking my Cellucor C4 and backed up by BCAAs, and I feel strong, man. And just keep pushing, doing creative work that gets banned 2 minutes after it goes live on air. So really, what is there at this point? They're gonna tear down my Ben Hamin YouTube channel. I'm gonna lose all 15 years of work. It won't be backed up, and I'll just keep going forward, because then we'll go to court and do what we have to do. But it's every day a frustrating trip down this censorship well, man. But I was actually really excited last night doing the watch along, because I was shocked at how good last night's show was. So I'm excited to talk about it as we got to get in, get out. Yeah, because I got beautiful people at 3:30 for their VIP meet and greet. So we're going to do a real big, but there was already a hot talk this morning. Well, it's been going on, and I know you can edit yourself and limit it a little bit. Well, first of all, good to see you, Sil, and MSG.
Let's officially start the show here. Yes, I'm your host, Nassim of the Air is Clean, and I'm lighting up that green. Your boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. The music you're hearing in the background is, of course, brought to you by my Rodecaster Pro. You can pick it up anywhere, Amazon, Guitar Center, Best Buy, anywhere that sells music products, or go to rode.com/Rodecaster Pro to get all the information. We're also, of course, sponsored by ZordosOliveOil.com. Get the finest Greek artisan olive oil. TheBroasters.com for your cup of Russo Bro coffee, as well as ProWrestlingTees.com. Yeah, so look, we got a bunch of stories here, Sil, and I know you got, of course, has been mentioned, you got to edit yourself. But the one I wanted to start off with here, which I don't think you have to edit yourself on because we've talked about this before, is there was a 3-part, 3-hour podcast, Silvio, that came out over the last couple of days, and it has to do surrounding a former trainer from the Florida area, Chance and Race, which we've talked about on the podcast before. Now, I'm not going to go into all the detail. If you really want to listen to it, go check out Duke's Loves Pro Wrestling. I'll put that over. But it's 3 hours. A couple things to take away, though, was he talked about Samantha Fiddler, in the podcast of part 3, and he seems to almost regurgitate the same story that Teddy Hart has said, that Samantha came down from Canada, started training with Teddy and Chanson. When Teddy and her broke up, Teddy went to Texas, and she ended up getting a job in the logging company. And then eventually he sent her off to another trainer because she couldn't afford to go to him. So he sent her to another wrestling school that was just starting. And then from there, he doesn't know. He's fully cooperated and everything. And everything sounded okay until he got to the point where he got like very defensive in this podcast. He goes, why would I, what would be the point of me and Teddy doing that? What do we have to gain? And like that comment wasn't really initiated. It wasn't like the host was nagging him on or like, oh, come on or whatever. It was just, he just happened to end this topic on the conversation, like very defensive. And maybe it's because he's getting attacked from all angles for years. And maybe he is innocent in this whole thing. We don't know in this specific topic, but I just didn't know if you had any update on the Chris Silvio investigation files, more on the Samantha Fiddler stuff, if you had heard anything.
He still might be trying to restart right now. I know he's having some tech issues. Still, you're on mute right now if you can hear me. El Muto.
If you want to go, Ben, I mean, what do you? Or,
go ahead.
How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
All right. So I've done research, and I'll share what I have once it's a little bit more thorough. But I have obtained like documents from different police departments and stuff like that. I did not hear. I just jumped in because I'm having technical difficulties. I did not hear about this podcast. Are you saying that Jason Rance was on a podcast and this was discussed?
In the last 48 hours. Yes,
Whose
sir.
Podcast?
It's a guy's called Duke Loves Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
So he did three. He did 3 parts, 3 1-hour parts.
Very interesting. Jason Rance is a very, I don't know the word to say it, but controversial figure would be probably the closest in the Florida wrestling scene. And it's a little odd because I do know Jason, and the interactions I've had with him have all been extremely pleasant. So this is one of those hard spots you find yourself in as a human, and I consider myself kind of a humanitarian. So I've got this guy that's always been nothing but kind and, kind and cool to me, but then there are these allegations against him. He had his issues with sleeping with an underage girl that everyone knows about. This was when he was about 25 years old. The story told to me from him was that he wasn't initially aware of the girl's age. Then he became aware of the girl's age, and he just credits it as a huge mistake. Whether right or wrong or how much he told me is not for me to determine. Obviously, it's illegal to sleep with underage women, and you should not do so. He does not personally strike as a violent person. He capable of covering something up for Teddy or not saying what he knows. I think that's a possibility. I don't want to indict Jason just on something he did 15 years ago that was shitty, but it's very possible that he knows something and he's not talking. I do know that he's been investigated. Results still haven't turned up yet. Nothing's come up as far as court records or legal proceedings about him being questioned or investigated.
Now, I want to jump in here before you do, Ben, because there's something interesting that he said. He mentioned the story about the underage girl. Well, on this podcast, in part 1, I listened to about the first 15 minutes. Now, I didn't get through all of it because I was prepping for the show as well. But in it, he does have a discussion about he was aware, actually, of this underage girl. In fact, he says in this podcast that his mom and his grandma and his family they were all, this girl was a family friend member, like a friend of the family, if you will. And they almost enabled it. That's how he's trying to perpetrate it in the podcast. Like, oh, you guys are going to be together one day and blah, blah, blah. So he's shifting the blame, if you will, of his actions onto his family member, if you will, saying they're the ones that enabled all of this and blah, blah, blah. She told me when she was 15, when she lost her virginity, et cetera, et cetera. There was more. Again, I didn't listen through all that, but that's kind of the gist I heard right there from the beginning. Vin, do you have any thoughts on this guy, on his story?
I've never met him, so I don't, have any firsthand account of what it is. Just the here and there of making bad decisions about pussy, and to pass heat on to grandma as the matchmaker fucking pops me. But there's also the company you keep. You're going to go to bat for Teddy Hart. How's that going to work out for you? What kind of fucking end game do you expect from that? Plus, there's also the rumors where he was doxxed of being the gimmicks guy in Florida. You want it, he can get it for you. So you can't knock the side hustle if you're selling smiz or the rattlesnake, whatever it is. I get it, bro. That welcome to professional wrestling, carnies, queers, and drug addicts, and he's going to supply them. And so I don't know what he's done or what he hasn't done, if this girl was a willing participant or what have you, but he's going on to try and clear his name and putting his stuff out in public. And that's the interesting take from this, because how do you be a Marty Scurll? How do you be a Joey Ryan where there's no charges against you, but your career is destroyed because of a minority of fucking SJW cancellation psycho fans? And how do you get back into the business that you've dedicated your life to, and slowly where they're going to want to come out and cancel you again? But the only way you can stand up to that is to keep producing content to stay in the spotlight. So their calls for cancellation are just null and void against it. Sure, you might have some indie promoters in Illinois and whatever other SJW fucking ball scratchers in California in the Northwest who will never hire you, but you can use that against them. But the biggest thing to do if you want to stay in this biz is to do what he's doing right here. Now, was his message, I don't know, conveyed properly? Or did he not really do anything to help his case? I don't know. I haven't listened to it. But
to me, it came off. It doesn't come off as something like it's really going to help his case. And furthermore, and I'm not going to be the one to instigate this, but our Hamin meet listeners aren't like this anyway. Someone's going to listen to that podcast because in like the first 20, 30 minutes, he explains, and I don't want to stooge this off, so you'll listen to it if you want, what his mom does for a living. And explains that he also helps his mom do this. And his mom's got like a very high type profile job where she goes to specific events and whatnot. And I'm like, why would you put that on a podcast? Because someone's going to go do the research and they're going to start targeting your family now and your mom. And even if you wanted to have a job somewhere, now you can't even do that. You just fucked yourself on that, dude. Like it just, and then why would you throw your mom under the bus? That's
they're probably going to kick his grandma out of the retirement home. I mean, it's all going to go bad here. But that's him on him not being the best worker in knowing ahead of time what needs to be done in order to give them what they need, but not give them too much and expose yourself for that. But unfortunately, we go into these 3-hour diatribes trying to save our soul, and all they're going to do is feast on it and stomp on you some more, unfortunately. But staying active and staying in the light and not letting these fucking minority cancel culture groups go over on you, showing them that you can't. I don't even care if you're reviewing fucking TGI Friday from the 90s. As long as you're making something and staying in the spotlight, that's how you have to fight that battle. And I'm not going to bat for this, that guy, or the other. But I will go to bat for the fact that no one has any right to tell any content creator or performer what the fuck they can do, how they can earn a living, and where or not they get to work based on pressuring promoters who want a virtue signal and look like they're woke as well. If there was police charges against Joey Ryan, if there was against Scurll or against this guy, different story. Are there? No. So you don't get to be the court of public opinion to say you're going to fucking be in solitary confinement and out of this business for the rest of your life. Do you have to?
I got to respond. I mean,
okay, go ahead, please.
There are charges against Chasen, and he is on a registry.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm unaware.
That's what I was going to say too, Silvio.
But on the other two, there's not. And who's more over and who's more canceled?
Well, I'd say Chasen's probably the most canceled.
He was never over to be canceled. That's the thing.
Sure. Now, as far as Marty, we've talked about this on the show before. What Marty did was not ethical, but it was not illegal because he was in the UK and this person was 16. So judge that how you will. Should his entire career be thrown away because of that one incident? If it was not a repeat series of incidents, I hope not, because I've been around Marty and he seemed to have been a good guy. Maybe he just fucked up one night and got too drunk and horny and was like, well, she ain't illegal. Now, as far as
we should go back and cancel the strippers I hooked up with when I was 17 because they took advantage of me. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, they were just.
They should be, yeah.
No, they should be. What should be is that we know that teenagers are sexual beings, not some babe in the fucking woods that predator wrestlers are coming to fuck. Yeah. And dude, that they know what's going on. Same as when I was 20 years old substitute teaching and a 17-year-old girl wanted to put me over. I said, no way. I go, I'm not walking into this fucking bear trap. 2 years later from now, when you're graduated, it's a different story. But fucking no, dude. Like, so they might have made bad choices, but I'm tired of this. Though they're lurking in the shadows, ready to fucking finger bang you in the truck. Like, just come on, dude. They know what they're doing.
I think Joey Ryan, though, is a different story due to the sheer number of people and some of these very credible. And Joey put out all these different statements, some that he removed, and I watched all of them, some where he was admitting to sexual contact. He had all these fact check things where he was like, here's how this couldn't have happened because I have this text from this. But he did admit to sexual contact with a lot of these people. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So I don't know what happened. No charges, as you've said, have been brought yet.
Do younger girls,
based on the number alone, I think there is reason to be suspicious of hiring Joey Ryan. I would have booked him 2 years ago. Today, I'm not letting him touch my brand. No way.
Yeah, well, of course, damage is done. But at the same time, how long does this need to go on where it's canceled and no charges? Now, if you think you can draw a ticket or you can have somebody beat the shit out of them and pay off the heat, that's better promoting, isn't it? Bill it as Joey Ryan in a fucking shoot fight and he just gets thumped. If that's the way back in, he'd fucking agree to it. And the other part is these girls, I'm not trying to belittle idiot teenage girls, but do teenage girls that are on the age of 16 to 17 want to hook up with other 15 to 16 year olds, or do they want to hook up with 20 to 30 year olds? Because they do. They do 90% of the time. The boys might
the 20 or 30 year old to fucking know better.
I agree. But when you're 21 years old and some fine fucking 16-year-old trim comes your fucking way, sniffing around and doing all the other, then little head thinks more than the fucking big head does, and somebody does something stupid 5 years removed from the cancel culture bullshit on a Me Too marketing exploit to fucking get some women's revolution bullshit over in speaking out. And then these guys just get thrown on the fire so everyone can dance around it like banshees and fucking pat themselves on the back at how fucking woke they are while we ruin lives in the fucking blaze that we leave behind us, bro. And that's where
I love you, buddy, and I always will. But we stand on opposite sides of this fence because some things that were uncovered during this were truly horrible. I work with a lot of female wrestlers, and I've been privy. I train a lot. I've been privy to some of the treatment that they've had from their trainers, from their coaches. I market my school by my own personal morals that it's a safe space, and I ain't going to fuck any of you over. I got a girl. I don't need another one. But some of these women, man, these allegations are 100% true. Some of them have been through hell. And that was the old way of doing things, putting shit under the rug. You know, some of the terrible carny shit that went on. Just
the new way is nothing more than some wrapping paper on the old way. And if these women believe it and they think there's a new day where they're respected to that level and they're just going to, we've gotten rid of all the old carny ways and it's going forward. No, This is the entertainment business. It doesn't matter if it's Hollywood, Vegas live shows, or pro wrestling. The same shit is going to happen. And what's really going to happen more than anything is you're not going to book women on your shows. No one's going to be woke. You're just going to not take the fucking chance that somebody is going to do something stupid, or even not even something stupid, that somebody is going to be so offended at a thing that is nothing that now your whole show and your roster is in jeopardy because of it. The answer is not redoing your locker room. The answer is not booking women. And that's the sad fact.
No way, dude.
No, I'm not saying the answer, like,
No.
do that. That's what's going to happen. I'm not saying, yes, this is the way forward. But as a promoter, why would you take the risk of booking a Kylie Ray when we don't know what's going on and and some other shit could happen? I'm not saying put Joey Ryan on your fucking card, but at the same time, this method of what has gone on the last 2 years, if I was putting my money into it, I'd go, I'm taking this girl that I know for sure and that girl, and they're going to have a match. And I'm not trying to do any women's title. I'm not trying to bring random girls in, because any one of those girls is now a liability to open their mouths and say something that doesn't even have to be true or remotely how somebody else viewed it. And you are fucked. As a business owner, women in your locker room are a liability based off the blowback of Me Too and speaking out, instead of the empowerment and going, they were right and we're going to change the industry this way. We do that for the fans and lip service on the fucking surface level. That's why I'm saying new thing of wrapping paper on the same old shitty present.
Well, let's segue here because we're still going to stay on topic. First of all, I just want, again, if you'd like to listen to that full podcast, I'm not promoting it, but I would say the Duke guy who did it, he made sure to mention that he's not endorsing or he's saying he likes this guy. He was just giving this guy
that guy, dude. At least he's providing a platform for
the guy to have to like tell his side. So that was that. Let's move on to the next story, and this still stays on topic of what we're talking about here. And this kind of goes into Danny Cage. Now, Silvio, you don't spend a lot of time on Twitter, so I don't expect you to have seen this in the last 24 hours.
I just got to time out this too, because I've seen this with non-wrestling people, and I'm tired of it in this world too. Hoes with 3 baby mamas, and we're supposed to look at them like they're baby daddies, and they're fucking. They look like we're supposed to look at like them, and that they're these women raising children. Meanwhile, they're out sucking the next dick, just waiting for a fucking check, and they're not even taking child support because they know they got that guy locked down for 18 years while they do it. I can name 2 of my buddies that are in a fucking thing like that, where both their girls each have 3 different kids by 3 different dudes. But we want to keep putting this fucking angel, these women that were coerced by these trappers know exactly what the fuck they're doing from the jump. And then when it's time for them to play the victim, oh my God, how could I and whatnot, dude? I'm not having it. These trappers are worse than the dudes most of the time, bro.
Allegedly. You can't generalize everybody with one stroke, though. Are there people like that? Yeah. Are there gold diggers? Yeah. But that's not an accurate statement to just put a broad brush.
They're not even gold diggers. They're just doing one thing with their legs open, being whores, but then they want to be respected as Mother Teresa 9 months later.
But can we agree that is one section of the population that has nothing to do with the entirety of it? Can we agree on that?
It's in there, and my point is they want to act like it doesn't exist, and it does. And now these girls painting themselves one way as babes in the woods of, I don't know, he just whipped his cock out and made me suck it. Like, you fucking went down the road to get to that point, and when you didn't get what you wanted, then the fucking story has a whole different gloss on it. That's all I'm trying to put out there.
Well, let's talk about a guy who started to put out a lot of stuff yesterday, Danny Cage. He went on a bit of a Twitter, I don't want to say rant, because it wasn't a rant. It was more of a Twitter expose. I guess there is a gentleman from the Texas pro wrestling scene by the name of Rudy Boy Gonzalez, who's a trainer, has worked with Ring of Honor Dojo, and I guess has also worked with Danny in the past. A lot of stuff has come out over the last 24 hours. If you'd like to read in depth all of this, of these tweets, it would take us a full podcast to review everything he tweeted out. But mostly what he went on to say is, Rudy, this is what it started was, I found out about the girl you took in your truck and tried to assault when you were at my camp coaching. I had no clue. They didn't tell me until years later, so I promised her I'd keep her anonymous. So I spoke directly to WWE and showed them her message. Now he goes into very great detail of everything that's about this. I got her permission. He eventually does this more about 12 hours ago. He got the girl's permission, didn't reveal the female, but put out all the messages from the time, date, and stamped and everything. He kept all of this information. But I guess my question to you, Chris Silvio, is do you know much about Rudy Boy Gonzalez?
I do. I know the story, and I'm not going to say her name, but I know the woman because she contacted me as well when I put out some posts that were condemning this treatment. As a trainer and as a coach, it drives me fucking nuts to see these people taking advantage of wrestlers. There are no women and men when I'm fucking training people. There are only wrestlers. If a peer of mine get into a relationship, mutual, based on we were hanging out one night, we had a connection, sure, that's fine. But it is not coach's job to use their fucking position to flex on people. And I heard the story, and the story was fucking disgusting. And the girl told me that it happened, and she's not the first one that told me stories about this guy. I knew Rudy as a respected coach. He used to run Shawn Michaels training school with Shawn, the short-lived when that Shawn was retired and did that. And I used to reach out because Rudy was a senior coach to me. So I want to learn everything the same way Hamin does. He reaches out to Russo, to Rip. So I would reach out as a coach to Rudy for knowledge. And then I started hearing all this stuff, and I had to end my personal and business relationship with him because I don't know what's true and what isn't, but I know this girl personally. She has no reason to lie and gains absolutely nothing from it. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of coaches that are doing this behavior, and fuck you for doing it. It gives us all a bad name. Fuck you for being creeps. Go get a fucking girlfriend and leave the goddamn women in the fucking locker room alone. Thank you. I'm fucking out.
Well, the story, if you want to go more in depth, Silvio is referring to. Danny Cage just put the story out because he got permission to show the messages. Doesn't reveal her name. The short story is it's a trainer who takes a girl on a trip to the store, quote unquote, and goes down a one-way road and tries to assault her. And then she eventually has to jump out of the car and run, and go back, and it's never spoken of again. But apparently the next day he tried it again, and when that girl spoke out, she ended up not being listened to, apparently. So
move past this story, Matt. I'm getting too hot.
All right. Well, the last thing is, I hope Lily just to end this fuse here. Alberto Del Rio, guys, has been announced. He's making his way back into the world of professional wrestling. Wrestle Inc. is reporting that Andrade is to wrestle former WWE champion on July 31st. Former WWE champion Del Rio will face Andrade at a pro wrestling event in McAllen, Texas. He said for the first time they're going to see what people on the internet have been asking for a long time: Andrade versus Del Rio. We've never seen two Mexican stars in Texas on such a poster with such magnitude. And of course, it also announced that him and co-founded by Chavo Guerrero will be reopening this year after shutting down last January. They're going to reopen last year. How are they going to get reopened in cancel culture?
I think my point's proven, isn't it? You're a flying shitbag with massive drug addiction problems, with abusive nature, kidnapping, and whatnot. Oh, but you were WWE champ, so it's fucking fine for you to come back out and do what you want after a little time passes. Is anybody calling for the end of Del Rio and Andrade, that this match shouldn't happen? Have we heard or seen any of that? No, because we can only get to indie guys who we can tear down, and because they weren't a world champ that way. You guys going to enjoy that Jerry Lawler A&E special that's coming out? Let's talk about all the 14 and 15-year-old girls Jerry Lawler's had to fucking pay off and fucked every which way in Tennessee. So that's my point entirely. Whether it's Skrull, whether it's Ryan, I'm not here to fucking say what they are, what they aren't, but You can't have it one way. Be hot about it. Defend it. Go to bat for women, and then go, man, the Jerry Lawler A&E fucking special was great when he fought Funk and all. No, you're a critical motherfucker who is blind to one thing and puts over another because of star power that you want to fuck in your mind. Not that anyone wants to fuck Jerry Lawler, but like that you think he's on a higher level, and that's okay, bro. And that's where this double standard in this carny biz, then get the fuck out. Because if you shit where you eat, or if you shit where you work, you know, and you're gonna eat that, you're begging for it. You are begging for it. I'm not trying to jump on you, Sil. Did you ever see me date any wrestlers? Anybody in the biz? No. How many wrestling?
No, you've been married for a long time.
Yeah, but how many? And I didn't do it in improv either, because I watch it go bad time and time again. And I'm not trying to hate on you, Sil, because love Jenna, and I'm glad you guys are happy. You've been married in wrestling before. You've seen other people married in wrestling, and 9 out of 10 times, it does not end well. So leave your biz in one thing. If you're a sexually dysfunctional motherfucker and we got to deal with that in the carny circus, then I will deal with that. But when you try and fucking do this double standard of who can get back over because Andrade got released and they want to see a super Mexican match, when the reality is this guy should be doing 7 to 10 years for whatever the fuck his indiscretions are, for how he abused Paige, for fucking punching his knuckles bloody high on coke in a fucking Mexican prison, from kidnapping and threatening another woman. No, Del Rio's coming back, everybody. He's going to have a fake wrestling match. Can't wait to see that on Fight TV. Like, everyone can go fuck themselves.
I think the promoter should refrain from putting that together, but it'll probably sell tickets.
He's the promoter. It's him and Chavo.
Anyway, but aside from that, to your point, Hamin, about dating within the industry, etc., from my personal experience, and you found some success for yourself and did some awesome things. You were a bit more regional. Sure. Whereas when you were kind of doing life on the road and traveling and all these different things, there's only a certain kind of woman that can put up with that shit and that can understand it. So for me, like, especially things like I have to miss your mom's birthday and your niece's graduation because I have a show in Texas I got to get to. For me, the wrestlers in the business, we're both on the same page. We understand that. If Jenna has a booking on my birthday, I'm going to tell her, take that shit. We'll celebrate my birthday when you get back. So I think it's a little bit different. Just the way you came in, you were a manager that progressed to a wrestler, where I've been a wrestler for nearly 20 years before I transitioned to coaching. So it's a level of understanding between the two people in the relationship that sometimes we're going to have to go this way and you're going to have to go the other way. That just the casual woman that doesn't understand it the way we do may not tolerate such behavior. But you're right. A lot of times it doesn't work.
I would never be with anybody who has to tolerate. I tolerate you to do well. No, this is my life and my trips around the sun, and we'll come to an understanding and agreement. What it is, but
I don't want Jenna gone for 4 days, but when she's doing NWA TV, I'm fucking proud and happy for her, and so are you.
Exactly.
Business. That's the way it is.
I get what Silvio's saying. Because that on all the aspects of entertainment, I think that people think like that, right? They usually end up dating within that entertainment industry because you find people that understand what you're going through mentally and physically being on the road.
Is it that, or is it convenience because they're right there at hand and you don't have to go out and do the work of the relationship?
Both. But you're sharing a huge mutual passion that connects you together,
and you're also both in on all the carny lies. And when that does not make for an honest relationship, when you have to be carny, and then the person in that with you, even if they're your ride or die, there will come a time where you have to fucking choose one way or the other because people want to test you and use you like that. I would never give anyone the ammunition, like how Johnny Ace stepped to fucking Velvet Sky and said, we would have you, but you're with one of the people on our roster. And if you break up with Shane Helms, then maybe we'll give you a contract. Well, maybe I'll stick this pencil through your fucking hand and you'll think differently about it after that.
Well, last thing in here, just to make sure everyone knows, May 3rd is when Del Rio's scheduled trial for punching that chick, the sexual assault and abuse he did last year in October. It was supposed to happen. COVID pushed it back. So we'll see if this show even happens because the trial is scheduled for May 3rd. But that's it, guys, for your hot news. Starting the show off hot. And we'll get into the positive stuff now. It's going to be a little bit different here. Normally we go from positive to negative, but today I feel like we're going to be flipping it around and we'll talk about all the positives we watched on AEW. But let's talk about some of the numbers here. Last week's broadcast of AEW Dynamite remained over 1 million viewers with 1.1. So they saw a little bit of a drop off from 1.219 the previous week to 1.104. We'll find out later today, usually when the show concludes, if they were able to hang around that number. As far as regards to their YouTube numbers, last Wednesday they had 1,806,000 views, which was down from the previous week of 3 million. The most viewed was Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy, and this is not very high for their views. They only had 335,000 views for their most viewed video this week. That was the TNT Championship match, the recap. The least viewed video, shockingly, was Jim Ross's sit-down with the Pinnacle. That only had 56,000 views. The average viewership for all of the videos across the board was 220,000. And of course, last night's only competition really was Fox's The Masked Singer. Do you have any thoughts on those numbers, Silvio, before we get into the reviews?
Do you have NXT's numbers? I just would be
So they were down 16,744 from 760 the week before unattested.
Interesting note.
Dude, the main event was awesome on NXT. The opener was DCW. Rip comes out with a fucking kendo stick rotten. It was so bad. Dakota Kai was so bad, bro. Her partner just dropping her on her face too, and they're just selling things that are non-existent, and it was brutal. It was brutal to watch. But the main was good. But if you can't, why would you last that long if you're there for the opener?
So NXT has not done 1 million unopposed yet.
Nope. They went up the first week, and now they're on. No, since they've gone unopposed, it's tick, tick, tick down. I think they did 780, 760, 7 whatever it was, 44.
Do you know why that is?
Shitty creative, shitty wrestling, and people who aren't brand loyalists sticking around. There's no reason for them to come and see it.
It's transforming from that alternative product that it was, where we're just going to give you wrestling with good wrestlers,
to homogenize WWE.
And it's now becoming WWE programming, not NXT.
Yeah, some people did really great stuff on there, dude. Trevor Lee is doing Grimes, whatever is doing.
I love him. Fucking so good, right?
Yeah, so good with character, man. All great stuff there. I mean, so there's a lot of bright light spots in there, but you know, how are you going to get anybody to do that? And with AEW going down from 1.2 million to 1,116,000, that's about a 7% loss. I don't know what they'll do yet this week, but this week's show was way better than the last 2 weeks' shows. So if numbers go up, that'd be great for them. And can we start up this hill instead of we started at 1.2 baseline and we're going down? But I don't know. How do you promote it? It's just your loyalists are going to be there. There was no big Shaq, no Tyson, no extra draw. So even if they had a great show, might not mean more viewers. I hope it does. But also, will they do a great show like this and not understand why it was a great show? They didn't step on every segment's business. They told stories and they had promos and they told the story on the show, not on fucking Dark or Being the Elite. The story got told on the show. The matches were shorter. They were concise finishes. All of those things led to this being a far more watchable show. Next week, are we going to have 9 segments where there's run-ins every fucking week again? Because they think they got lightning in a bottle, but they don't have any idea why it worked. And that's crazy to me when you have Tully, Jericho, you know, like this week, that's the format. That is the format going forward. If you go back to anything else you were doing, then it just shows me you're a self-egregious fool who's booking segment to segment and not looking at the show as a whole experience.
All right, well, let's definitely get into that here. And also just a quick plug, because someone asked about, they asked the question, is Floyd fighting Jake Paul? If you'd like to hear Ben's thoughts on that, go back, listen to the Next Level podcast. Him and Big Ray, actually, it's one of their 3-count topics, the Paul brothers in boxing. So if you want to hear more in depth, go check out the Next Level podcast after this. Of course, one more time, We're sponsored by ProWrestlingTees.com. Y'all go to ProWrestlingTees.com/BenHamin. Get your shirts. Super strong. Of course,
you can go to WWEshop.com and get Happy Lana Day shirts for $4.99. It's a real fucking.
I don't really care. ProWrestlingTees.com. Superstar Chris Silvio, of course. BWO Stevie, SEG shirts. Greek God, Papa Don, Rad Rob's got a Pro Wrestling T-shirt up there. Go support everybody, and of course, check out Brosters.com and Zordo's Olive Oil. All right, let's get into AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite from April 28th.
This show just got flagged in fucking
2021. No, it's under 10 seconds.
Yeah, that will stop.
That song's not copyrighted yet. It's just a television show. Yeah. That being said, let's talk about AEW Dynamite here, guys. Is AEW Dynamite, emanated, as you guys talked about to start the show off. It was a really good show. They had a good flow. A lot of good matches. I was shocked with how they started this show off. And they started the show off with Hangman Page taking on Brian Cage, which in my opinion, this was probably a main event match that probably should have done at the end. I'm not, shitting on the Darby versus 10 match, which we'll get to. But I felt like in retrospect now watching the whole show, this probably should have been the main event as these were the two stars on the show, really, as far as in matches. A great match between Hangman Page and Brian Cage. Surprisingly, Hangman Page loses, the number one contender. And
that was great.
Yeah, Brian Cage, a dominating fashion, I will say, as he picks up the win with the drill claw clean. Just hits that drill claw, no schmaz, no interference, nothing. Nobody came out from any factions. Brian Cage looked dominating fashion. And the commentators even put over, this is probably one of Brian Cage's biggest victories here in AEW.
Because he went over clean with a finish. That's believable because the guy's fucking Incredible Hulk. They would do this on the watch-alongs all the time when they overbook a bunch of bullshit. I go, that's enough to beat me. Fuck, I would have been. You want to go 5 more minutes? You could have had me back there on that drill claw number 1. And I like that it's a victory because it's believable that Cage could fucking beat Page, just the size difference alone, and it puts over his finisher. And there's no shame in a 360-pound fucking muscle head beating you with something devastating in a knockout finish. And the first spot on the show and the last spot on the show are where you want your top matches. You want to be able to hold viewers out of the gate, or you want them to have something to look forward to at the end. And I think they did a phenomenal job with that this week. And I really like Brian Cage going over, even though we did have some schmozzy shit in the beginning to do stuff with Taz and Dark Order, and then they get all fuck off so we can just focus on this, which I liked. And even at the end, though, we did have a little business, but I thought this was a great opener to a show. They obviously have faith in Adam Page to be able to carry and hold viewers out of the gate.
Randy, Superplex Falcon Arrow, no kick out. Like that, it actually ended the match.
Yeah, that was it.
Sexian.
Trevorson is his mother's mating name, by the way, in case anyone was wondering why that's up there. I fucking hated the opening of this with the immediately as soon as you watch the show, you see 20 guys run out, and then Brian Cage hitting him from behind with the belt when Cage is 330 pounds. That's not needed. That's something Ricky Starks would do before his match with Hangman Page. Once all that ended, I loved the match. It was fucking cool. And I didn't expect, based on the way that Brian Cage was dominating, I expected Hangman to pull off the win. So I was surprised when he didn't. I found it interesting to hear Shivani say it was an upset, because Brian Cage beating Page certainly isn't an upset, but I don't think anybody saw it coming. What I hope they're doing with Page is that they're bringing him down to build him up. He was tailor-made to be the top guy from day one as the baby. We've talked over and over again about his trials and tribulations. Get Page away from the Dark Order as soon as humanly possible. No offense to those guys. They're doing fine. But I sincerely hope that this is just to give the crowd the impression that Hangman's maybe not going to be the guy, and then his true ascent begins.
I agree with that logic too, Silvio, because the way they've positioned, and even though they don't bleed it over really well with being the elite, right, with the whole Hangman and the Bucks thing, at some point it seems like we're going to get that collision again of Hangman versus Kenny. with Hangman playing the baby face this time.
Hangman should be the DDP role to the NWO, where they're trying to get him to join. It looks like he's going to. Hangman fucking starts busting ass on all 6 of them in the ring, runs through the crowd, drinks a fucking beer. Now he's playing shenanigans on the Elite every week. He's fucking their lives up. He's badass cowboy John Wayne's back again, baby.
Yeah, it could. I mean, definitely. And, people are like, Hangman's, Cage is a heel, isn't he? Well, when you look like that, you can't be too much of a heel, in my opinion, unless it's by circumstance of doing dastardly things of fucking your sister or something. You walk in on her. And like that guy, you want to live vicariously through him. Just look at him. But he did a great over the top rope shit can on the low bridge, real safe bump. Then Hangman fucking launches himself, and then boom, he catches him, showing his strength. They did a lot.
You get scared, Hamin, like I did when you saw that catch.
Yeah, but it highlighted him the right way, right? Mm-hmm. It looked really good. So after the Derby, whatever it was with Cage, and that was a brutal different. Like they should have had Cage go over there too. Now it feels like maybe, and like I'm saying, I'm not going to get married to this. It's week 1. Next week they could have him doing something else completely stupid. But this was done right to get him over, and I like, because Cage getting beat by clean by Page isn't going to look right to me. I don't think, So I like Cage up here.
Yeah, good match. Great way to start off AEW. We then rolled into the Elite as they were in the back of a limousine. Once, as far as the match wrapping up, Don Callis laughs, has some quick smart-ass comments to make before the triple champion himself, AEW Impact, brand new Impact World Champion, which he beat Rich Swann over the weekend, and AAA Mega Champion Kenny Omega. So Mega talks about how the Elite won't be intimidated or scared, claiming they are unfazed by the ambush in the parking lot as they endured at the hands of John Moxley and Eddie Kingston on last week's show. But just as he finished bragging about that, brags about the Young Bucks, they all talk about how amazing they are. We hear some horns honking, and then the Elite crew play it up, start to look nervous until their driver leans back and apologizes, and it's Michael Nakazawa, and he's sorry, I accidentally honked the horn. Omega wraps up by talking about some of the action involving the Elite tonight, and then we head to a commercial break. And what do you think of this backstage interaction in the limousine there, Silvio?
I just thought it was funny because Gallows is so big.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
They're all cramped up in this fucking limo trying to act cool.
Yeah.
Gallows was great in this scene, by the way, but it just popped me that's all I could think about is that they're all huddled in Don Callis dress. We're just 6 grown men in a limousine. I thought their reaction from the horn honking was a little bit over the top for my tastes, but Gallows pops me. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's the funny thing. But they're trying to just to sell it as cool guys. They shouldn't. They should put it over how uncomfortable it is, and that Gallows needs to man spread, and that he's got the big snabits between his legs and all that fucking shit. Instead, they just try and be cool, and then Kenny feeds off of Callis's wrestling voice. And we're into a completely fake wrestling promo with Kenny, where Kenny's trying, you're not going to beat us. You're going to face our goons. And there's our goon, like all this setup shit that seems so like phony. When I popped bigger for the Bucks in the way they looked, and Nick with the fucking forehead thing to cover.
Oh my God, Nick looked fucking great this week.
So good, bro. The Bucks are back to what they should be, which is a fuck you to the business and ribbing. They've got Seth Rollins' wife's jacket on with the stupid fur to say fuck you to him. He's got the thing across his forehead to hide his bald spot, and that's an FU to them as well. Then he even gets down during the match and does the Johnny Cage ball punch as a fuck you to Miz. So the Bucks are back on track when it comes to what they're supposed to be doing, which is ribbing the business on a Blue World Order type shit. Stevie and I talked about this earlier. They looked great. And they're getting over how they should in this match. I hope they stay on this road. But here we've been again, Sil. Same with Pentagon. Is it the Bucks heels? Are they babies? Are they this? Are they that? Right? They beat the shit out of the father, and then we wrestle. But now we're back to fuck you industry heels. I like them there because that's where their best creative stuff comes out. But this back of the limo shit was ridiculous wrestle crap as trying to reinvent some Four Horsemen stuff, and it just didn't play at all. And then the word things like saying you're going to fight our goons, we're done. Like, it just shows, dude. And Omega and Swan, 1 out of 5 Meltzer stars on the Impact main event. And we didn't, and we'll get to this in the show, there was no Impact run-in to fucking do the crossover to get the belts back. Where was Moose? Where was Swan? Where was fucking Sammy? Where's Eddie? None of that went down here. So when it comes to this crew of guys, Bullet Club version 4.5 or whatever we're on, this didn't work for me. And it's the phony wrestling that the phony wrestling talk and the good brother talk that Omega and Callis are trying to insert into these scenes. They just take me right out of them, bro.
Well, I mean, to your credit, and as far as you mentioned the Don Callis being that wrestling voice, if you go back and just watch from last week, the face-to-face debate between him and Rich Swann, I thought Don Callis was really great, and he was
phenomenal in that. Why can't we have that on the? Why does he have to, like, I'm on now and I have to do it this way and talk of this way? Like, he's so good at just being him.
Yeah. When
he's on K100 or even when he was with Lance and he's like, well, you know, I'm the 37-time Moroccan Intercontinental Champion. All that shit is so cornball and kills every scene. Stop. You are good as Cyrus. You are good as just being Don Callis, a shady motherfucker who operates between New Japan, Impact, and fucking AEW. We don't need all this extra little D-level character work on top of it. It's really killing scenes. And they could be hitting home runs.
Stevie Ray TV on YouTube for the face-to-face between Rich Swann, and Don Callis. So following that, you talked about it segued into the match. So we had, of course, the Young Bucks, the tag team champions. I guess AEW is doing some sort of AEW tag team title eliminator, not a tournament, just the tagline on it, being that if you beat the Young Bucks, then you get a shot at the title. So in this case, we had the Seidel brothers, Matt and Mike Seidel, taking on the Young Bucks. I don't think it would do me any justice to break all of this down, but the winners of the match were the Young Bucks. As you mentioned, it was a very excellent tag team match. There's lots of ups and downs, bells and whistles, as they usually say. But I did like the low blows you mentioned in the end. Not only was it, I guess you were referencing The Miz, I was also thinking it was just, definitely the reference pop culture, the Mortal Kombat. And Excalibur immediately pointed out with Johnny Cage.
Tony Schiavone was the one.
Oh, Tony Schiavone, I'm sorry, pointed out. So, yeah. Of all people, yeah. So it was a good.
Johnny Cage even in the movie?
No, but so that's great, though. So that means he's taking the attention.
But then Miz has had the buzz of wanting to be that. So then Matt beats him to the punch of doing a Johnny Cage spot on TV. Okay. So now if Miz does it, he looks like Johnny Cage come lately, right?
I didn't know the Miz was at England for that part.
What's that?
I didn't know
Miz can't do a split. You ever seen him work?
but my point being is they had that conversation backstage of how can we get over on WWE and other dudes in pop culture and beat them to the punch, and that's where the Bucks are brilliant. Whether it's satire, spoofing, or fucking getting in a shot on somebody, that took the power from the Miz. So if the Miz tries to do any of that shit, he's going to look like a fucking copycat.
In fairness, though, as well, to we have an opinion haver here in the chat room. Also,
that's the vet from.
I was trying to say that the vet, who is also the host of the Impact Attack with Colin, which you can check out tomorrow. HBO Max is owned by Turner, which is all the same company. So I that's good on Tony. At least he's keeping up with content his company's putting out.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that they smartened Tony up backstage that we're going to do this spot to fucking rib the Miz, get over that it's fucking from Mortal Kombat and Johnny Cage. Who's Johnny Cage? Is that Brian Cage's cousin? No, he's a character in that. Like, they probably had to spell it all out for him, but that's what you should do. If you're a performer and you're doing spots and you need the stage picture of what you want, you got to go smarten up Timmy Baltimore. You got to go smarten up Bolin so they know the things there. That's on what a true performer does. So that's all Matt and Nick fucking being smart at what they want to do, and then going to tell Shivani when this happens, say that so we all look good.
All right. I'll agree with you there. Silvio, any more thoughts before we move on?
Absolutely. My God, this match was great.
Great.
Nick Jackson's outfit was extraordinary. The Bucks worked like heels, and I appreciated that. Last week, I gave them a little flack because they were only half in. They had one foot in the pool. This week, they had both feet in the pool. They let the Seidel brothers shine, and shine they did, without the Young Bucks outcooling their moves. That's what a heel does. I'm an athletic heel. I've argued this with Hamin before, but the Bucks showed it. I'm an athletic heel. I'll get some athletic things in when I'm a heel, but the babyface shit's got to be better than mine and more frequent. It's a 3-to-1 kind of ratio. If I do a cool drop kick, then the babyface got to do 3 more cool things than I just did. The Bucks did a great job of working as heels, and I love the fact that they did a heel finish. Yes, it was Johnny Cage, but essentially he punched him in the balls. That's what a heel would do. And so we're now seeing the Bucks truly be heels. But goddamn, did fucking Matt Sydal have so much. That's the most fire I've ever seen Matt have in any match last night.
How about that bump he took from the
on.
top rope when they did the cutoff and he fucking took the nasty spill?
He loves it. Yeah, he does it all the time.
The double knee Meteora off the second was great. They were just selling their ass off for the Bucks, and when they needed to look athletic, they did. This was match of the night, hands down.
Yep, and I think this should have been main event, Maddie, instead of the Cage and Hangman.
I kind of liked it where it was.
Great.
I kind of liked
there was nothing wrong with it. It was fucking great. Good job, Tall. And I got to say, I'm happy and proud of Mike Sydal as well for stepping into a huge role fresh out of the Indies. And he'd even taken some time off before this happened from COVID. You know how hard that would be. Imagine going from not working to jumping onto live national TV. So props and shout out to Mike Sydal.
Absolutely.
And of course, Matt Sydal is always ready because he's you're one half of your head coach at the Sydal Dojo in Florida.
That's right. We're kicking ass, boys. Kicking ass.
Shout out to the vet and Sergio, our OVW DCW brothers in the chat right now. Surge pop for Johnny Cage come lately. Thank you. That went right over their head, Surge. But I know you're a high level player, and I knew that would.
I try to talk, but you just talk over me, so I would have gotten the joke.
I'll talk over you now too, just so you don't get your shit in.
Sergio, try to sunset flip me and watch me kick out.
Oh shit.
I don't think Matt Jackson should be Johnny Cage. I'm petitioning for Netflix movie action star Tony Jaa. Give me Tony Jaa. I'd rather see him, Johnny Cage. That being said, let's move on to the next confrontation. Is after the match, SCU comes out. That being just Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, which by the looks of it, looks like Scorpio Sky is officially done with SCU as he's seems to be angled off now with Ethan Page. But Christopher,
this part here was actually the best part of the match, I think, to be honest with you. I don't like the step on every business, but go ahead. This was really great. I forgot how good this was.
Yeah, when the match finishes up, the Young Bucks are getting cooled off with spray bottles, which is awesome. You see
so good.
Like spraying them down like the superstars they are with the water mist, towels fanning them off. They're interrupted. Kazarian and Daniels come out. There was my only criticism of this promo is they kept referring to it like you're going to be gone when we're done beating you. And I'm just like, that weird part of the promo. You can't make proclamations that the Young Bucks are going to be gone as soon as they lose their titles. But that being said, there was a good promo as both Kazarian and Daniels addressed the fact that they, really valued their friendship with the Young Bucks. But the Young Bucks have turned into these pricks. Talked about their questionable attire. Daniel says he can't wait to beat them. And
that bought me the questionable attire. I'm like, aren't you the guys who dressed up like fucking marching bands?
Queen, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, of course, Daniel says, he ends the promo by saying, when we beat you, you're going to be gone from AEW, essentially. So it wasn't a bad promo. Great promo from the guys. What do you think, Ben, since you want to start off?
Yeah, I like this because I've been wanting Kazarian to get the shine that he's more than earned for the last 15 years. And this match was so great. And these guys came out not carny trying to be some bullshit indie thing. SCU. It was, hey, we're boys with you. Again, we fought you here, there, Japan, 2CW, wherever. And you were cool guys. But right now you're acting like some fucking dicks. And we got to teach you a lesson. And that's all it needed to be. It didn't need to be any big, heavy wrestling thing. That's where we go from, I'm the 37-time Morocco champ, to here's some real talk. And you can feel the difference in the two, can't you? So if you got that on your show, you shouldn't have the other. So this was good setup, and it takes me back to 2CW 2015, where I know these guys can deliver in the main event, and I think it'll be a great match. Later with Scorpio Sky broken off and what they did at the end with the run-in from Page, I thought that was not good. The run-in and beatdowns weren't bad, but you got one guy dressed in like he's coming out of a fucking country club in little shorts and a pink shirt, and the other dude's dressed in a fucking hoodie, and you're like, supposed to be, who's that? It just didn't. Where theirs worked, this other one was, to me, was like, what's going on here, bro? So
Christopher Daniels' delivery on that was great. It was emotional and it was real. That's why we liked it. It was good. And I love Brandon Cutler now being their Jermaine. Instead of them trying to push him as like a competitive wrestler when people can tell that that's not quite accurate. I love the fact that he's spraying them with the ice and following them with the camera. That was really fucking cool. It was a real nice touch to end the segment.
what did you think about calling those guys goons, though, and shit like that? I think that's a bad choice.
I don't think Omega should use the term. I like when the announcers do it. Like Tony kept referring to Cutler as their lackey, but the Bucks weren't saying he's my lackey.
Right. It's very open booking sheet talking. Then the goons run in and we do this, that, and the other. Instead of, you don't call them that because you just lowered their stakes.
You know what it should be? Literally, it should be Trailer Park style. Boys, or fucking whistling. Corey and Trevor come running.
Yeah, why not, bro?
Yeah.
Why not? You could even, dude, Corey would come and do that.
Yeah.
Well, I have some thoughts on Brandon Cutler a little bit later, but before we get there, we get a promo from Jade Cargill, and she reminds us that she's that bitch, and that, of course, that she's, everyone wants to, sign her, that she's one of the hottest free agents in AEW. She mentions how every manager and representative in the business and AEW is all over to sign her with them, but notes they all want a percentage of earnings, and that is a problem. So I'm like, you just want somebody that you just basically want somebody to like worship you? This is what I'm getting at?
Yeah, sure. The hot indies. Go ahead.
I'm sure she could find somebody to do just that.
Yeah, I'm sure. RBV's available. Yeah, dude, this is not, I don't like that bitch thing because it's overused as like the world star. Oh, I'm that bitch. Okay. From now on, when I need you backstage, I'm going to go, bitch. Is anybody seeing bitch anywhere? Bitch, hurry up. You're on deck, bitch. How's she going to respond to that?
HR.
How? Yeah, well, no, but you called yourself that bitch. How about the fact that you're a top tier athlete with more muscle mass and less body fat percentage than anybody else on this roster? How about the fact that nobody can compete with you, man or woman, in your selected sport? And now I'm looking for somebody who can ride or die with me, who's got my back, because I can't trust any of these people out here who are trying to be sycophants and leech off what they already know is a top quality properly. But instead, hey, I'm that bitch. Well, I thought fucking Cody's wife was that bitch. Hey, are you that bitch? No, she's that bitch. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're all a bunch of dumb fucking bitches at the end of the day. Nobody bro. Nobody at home is going, she's that. Hey, mom, she's that bitch. Like, fucking, it's ignorance.
I mean, you and I are so diametrically opposite on some things, but that promo you laid out for Jade is exactly the way I would have written it for her. It's so funny that when we do have similarities, they're the same fucking vision to a T. That's how she should be promoted, the supreme athlete that nobody can fucking touch. She's in better shape. She's better looking. She's the best athlete. No one can touch her. I've given Jenna that exact line, man or woman. Nobody can touch me. You know?
And you see it, and it's fucking apparent. But instead, we got to go ghetto because I'm fucking black, don't you know? Holy shit, really? I never. Oh, really? EST? You're a fucking track star that no one could ever fuck with, and you're a supreme athlete? Well, you better get out there with a huge hair extension, some door knocker earrings, and slap your fat black ass because we didn't get enough stereotype enough. It just wasn't there. We couldn't figure out what you were. But now being the EST at pole vaulting, fucking running a 440 or whatever it is, that's out the window. We had to get right back to the world star of it all.
Coming soon to Ben Hamin's website, his brand new board game. It's called Who's That Bitch? It's a Mystery.
Yeah.
A classic game.
If you roll a 6, slap your ass and wear some door knocker earrings.
So up next we had Orange Cassidy versus Penta El Zero Miedo. This wasn't a bad match, I would say. It was a little weird as we saw his guy Alex Abraham. Sorry, I'm butchering his last name. Alex came out with him, and he was pretty.
What's his name?
Abraham Lincoln.
Alex Abrahantes.
Yeah, he's good.
He was get over in that intro, huh? Jumping up and down, acting all excited. He was part of the show. He was
What's he look like?
He looks like me, like a mark almost.
A complete fucking mark out of the crowd, bro. And you got the most deadliest, best trained luchador in the history possibly of wrestling. And you're going to fucking have some bullshit fucking mark out moment stuff in the beginning and end. And meanwhile, everything in between is exactly what we want until we have to fucking wait for this. You got to break him up. Put this guy back on commentary. He's not comfortable. He looks amateur, and he's bringing down every segment that he's in with Pentagon. It's not going to get over.
I saw maybe a picture. Maybe I thought it could be Photoshop. Did he used to work for WWE in some creative capacity? I think he used to be like a creative writer is what I read.
I'm sure that he's fucking loves the business. I thought he was good on the mic when he was just doing straight man commentary stuff. He's got energy. He's got poise. He comes through the camera. Whatever this douchebag fucking little buddy translator character is, you are lowering the stock price of a prime property. You are taking a Kentucky thoroughbred ready to run the fucking derby, and you're putting them out in the field to fucking plow the fields. That's what you're doing with this when you hitch them up. Let's
talk about the match. Silvio, what'd you think of the match?
It was it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
Even after all this time, I still can't answer the question of what would I do if I were booking Orange Cassidy. Just because he's such his own unique thing. I don't know where to go to get him any higher, but he did a great job in this match. This was the first time I saw him really change gears, and he threw some really good strikes. Like at one point, Penta pissed him off in the match, and Cassidy just started going fucking ham on him and was throwing some realistic shots. Yep. Penta is the best of the best. It was so fucking good. I was enjoying it until the spot at the end where the guy jumps on the microphone, starts talking about the mom again, and then fuck the whatever, and then right into the finish. For me, I'm a little different to you guys on this show. The first hour I really loved. Second hour I wasn't as high on and got drained a little bit, and I think it started about at this finish.
In fairness, I had to watch AEW twice. I think this was the point in the show I might have fallen asleep. This match. I'm not saying that I didn't watch it back. Maybe I was tired, but at this point in the show, this is where I kind of drifted out a little bit. So I get what you're saying. This seemed to be a little bit of the fall off is where it starts here. Following that, we had the Tony Schiavone interview with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And it was from earlier in the day. They two come in and hug Schiavone, and then Baker mentions that she never lies. She brings up how she promised to ascend to the top of the rankings in the women's single division AEW. Shows that she has done that as the latest of the official rankings released by the company.
Surprised you could reach that.
I know. Baker goes on to talk about how she is the biggest ratings demo draw, the top merchandise mover, and the biggest overall star in the AEW women's division. She vows that she will Shia later, the current champion of Hokuto Shida, and soon crown her as the champ. Yeah, that's right. I watch a lot of anime. I know how to pronounce Japanese names. Silvio, what do you think of this?
DMD. I'm down with it.
Good. It was very good. Did Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I like that they put Shivani in there at the end on the little bit. I think that's good. I like that even though Rebel doesn't need the crutch, it's her gimmick and she's got it. And she's also working very hard weight loss wise. You can see she's really getting in shape quickly. And it'll be interesting to see if they give her in ring that way. Just a short little Britt Baker segment. So I don't know if there's something going on with her injury wise, what they're not having her do it, because she had these matches to become number one contender. So at least we're setting it up and not over and exposing her, every week. So we're looking forward to the match. So that's why I liked it. But it was a good little in and out promo. She did good.
Actually, Goalie Blanchard in the chat room brought up an interesting comment. Any wrestler mentioning demos on TV is cringe. And that had me. I was just thinking, I feel like wrestling right now is the only thing I watch programming wise that mentions their demos like on a live format that isn't like some sort of press release or interview. You know what I mean?
They're also talking about spots. I want your spot. Well, what does that mean to the audience viewer at home? It really doesn't mean anything. To the boys in the back, it means everything. And even those fans who think they're smart don't really know what that means. You
don't think that it, I mean, and we'll get to because it's next. You don't think that Jericho does a good job though in this next promo?
He does, but you're doing in-ring talk for the boys to try and smarten up for the smarks at home who think that they know what that means and they really don't have an idea of what I'm coming for your spot. What does that mean? That you're going to be the top heel who's paid the most, who gets carte blanche on the matches that they want, and is in the main storylines. All of that is business exposing bad when you say it's my spot or this spot, as opposed to what the fans also thinks of spot monkeys, which is a fucking Meltzer driver and everything. So you're confusing the vernaculars, which only wrestlers know who are inside the mafia, whether it's gimmick, whatever the fuck, that can be 90 different things. I don't really like open talk like that, because if somebody said that to me in the ring, I'm coming for your spot. Well, what's that mean? You're going to be the most vicious heel who's fucking playing a gimmick of Islamophobia or whatever phobia that it possibly is. Is that what you're telling all these fans here, and that you're coming for my paycheck and that I'm going to be marginalized because of it in the booker's eyes? That's when you say I'm coming for your spot. That's what that means.
Can a wrestler, in your opinion, say that I want the top spot in this company, or I'm coming for the top spot in this company?
You can say, I want the top spot, which is the main event, to be the AEW champion, because it doesn't matter if Kenny Omega has all the titles in the world. The numbers, when you call up TNT and ask them who are they watching more than anybody, it's me, it's Scorpio Sky, whoever the fuck, you know what I mean? Then you can do that. But these open fucking smartened up good brother phrases that they think they can just throw out there nonchalantly hurts their work more than it enhances the story.
Well, let's talk about this parlay between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. So we get all the members of both teams, the group led by MJF, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, Tully Blanchard, Wardlow, Sean Spears. And of course, you got the Inner Circle, Le Champion, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Santana Ortiz, and Jake Hager. They all come down to the ring. Tony Schiavone doesn't last very long in this interview segment, as he does ask a question, he's about to do a coin flip, but then he's stopped by Sean Spears, and the coin flip is dissolved. Sean Spears makes the point that they deserve the advantage. Eventually, which we'll get into, but Sammy Guevara, I guess, just gives away the advantage here. I guess that's what we're taking away. So he's going to be the first in the ring. But before we get there, Sean Spears cuts a very passionate promo. Talks about how there isn't going to be a coin toss, as he wants to address some things. Ultimately, mocks Guevara for not being in the ring in recent memory. Then Guevara ends up getting upset, talks some trash about Sean Spears, about how he didn't make it in the previous company he was in, and he's not the star. Talked about how, that he will be the first in the match, that he'll fight everybody and anybody, including the popcorn guy. We get some talking points from both members of FTR, who bring up the kids of Santana and Ortiz. They said they want to see the old Santana and Ortiz, not this rendition of whatever they are. This gets Santana Ortiz upset, of course, because they're talking about their kids. I think it was Cash who ends it by saying, you should tell your kids that your daddy won't be coming home after blood and guts. Then Ortiz and Santana, they take a turn on the mic. They talk about how in 7 days they will be all locked in a cage together. I would have liked, since they're kind of doing the Impact crossover, they should have mentioned the fact they killed a kid. They're like, you want to fuck with us? We killed a kid. That would have been a nice little Impact breadcrumb to the viewers, but they didn't talk about that. However, we get some talking points that continue on, and then we get to the crux of the big promo between MJF and Chris Jericho. MJF tells everyone to calm down, act like a gentleman, pointing out that this is a parlay, not the actual blood and guts match. Goes on to talk about how there wouldn't be an AEW without Jericho. He says he was the guy. He was the top draw. He says that Jericho also managed to form the best group in professional wrestling. He says that he'll give him that. He says that Jericho has since looked bloodshot in the eyes every week. He says he looks exhausted. He says it's okay, though, because next week he's going to put him out of his misery, and then he's going to take his spot. Then Jericho comes back, calls MJF a self-righteous, self-gratifying little prick. He says MJF has the gall to say he's going to take someone's spot. Talks about his parents giving him a trust fund and how he's a privileged, spoiled kid his whole life. If he wants his spot, he's got to earn it. Talks about how he's earned his spot. Puts him over the fact that, yes, he was the curtain jerker for WCW, but that's also because he sold out arenas in Japan and Mexico and all over the world and put his, time in. And then he says that if he wants Jericho's respect, he's got to beat him at Blood, Guts, and Glory. Refuses to get cut off by Tully Blanchard. And it kind of just ends with them all, standing face to face. I don't need to go further. But very good parlay between the two. And I missed this. Someone I think has pointed out. I guess they did do the coin toss. It was just really quick. I guess Shivani did do the coin toss and the Pinnacle did win. No, they didn't? Okay.
No, they knocked it out. And it would have cheapened the scene to pick up the coin, but somebody should have picked the quarter up and put it in their pocket because that's what workers do. I got to disagree with the vet in here. Hopefully he doesn't make me do push-ups, but he says the top spot is the championship. No, it's not. Belts are for guys who can't get over with character. And the top spot is right here. Is MJF or Jericho have a belt? Nope. Are they fighting for the belt? Are they the two top guys in the company? Yes. So the championship is often not the top spot, and since Hogan days, and even then, when the top guy in WWE was Undertaker in a storyline that didn't have anything to do with the belt, he was that was the spot. So this belts that I hear constantly. Why did we make Big Cat champion? Because he can't wrestle and he sucks on the mic. So, but he looks like $1 million and we got people who can work around him. Did anybody want Big Cat's fucking spot? No. So, that this is
incorrect. I wanted Big Cat's spot because I felt I was more qualified, but he looked better.
but at the end of the day, this is Jericho back on his game 100%. This was Jericho on the edge of the razor blade, cutting the promo with no botches, being in the moment, being eye to eye with MJF. MJF really turning up the energy, Jericho matching the intensity, and they got all the other guys in first, so they didn't have to follow that because you can't follow that. So the structure of this, where everybody gets a little bit of time, worked very well. Even just to reference Jake Hager, and Jake just does the facial of like, this guy had my back in 2012 when we were about ready to fucking get killed by Hamin's cousins in Abu Dhabi. And he said, let's fucking go. I'll fight the whole country. When you get stuck in a scene, say a truth about yourself. Was that an absolute truth? Yes. Could we feel how the scene got grounded right there and we were into it? Because anything he says after that, we're going to believe because we believe what that truth was, because it's undeniable. So this was a very good scene. I also liked, as a producer, the Z-axis shooting the depth of that. I thought it was really good. Instead of guys how we usually are shooting on a Y-axis with everybody standing in a line or a semicircle trying to pass the mic and look at each other. This was very good. Sharks and Jets. What were the Outsiders? I can't remember the name of the fucking group. But when they face off against each other in a gang fight.
Socias and the Greasers.
Socias and the Greasers. Thank you. To set that up. And I thought this scene worked very, very well, especially in the middle of the show.
I mean, check your DMs while I talk the parlay.
Okay.
Parlay, my first notes were, the fuck is a parlay? Yes, I heard last week where they explained what a parlay was, but I didn't know what to expect during this segment. But I was pleasantly surprised. Everybody delivered on their promos. Even Wheeler, who's not necessarily known as a promo guy, cut a very good promo. Santana's promos are getting better every week. He's one of my favorite promos in AEW right now.
Yep.
MJF's was good, and Jericho, you're right. I mean, he was back. Those issues we addressed last week of like him trying to find the voice with this character now being a babyface, I think he found it this week. That's what we wanted. Now I can't be any more excited to see this match. And what I'm most glad about was there was a threat of violence. And I mean, you know this back from our OVW days. There was a threat of violence the entire time.
Yep.
But we didn't get any violence. We're saving it for that fucking cage.
Yeah. And they put it over. The only thing that I would take away is you're going to have to kill us. I'll kill I thought that too. And somebody's got to die. Okay. I guess we're going to have the first murder in OVW or AEW, and we're going to fucking have to put it over because they set it up that way. So you want to stay away from I would die in there, because if you lose and you don't die, then you're a liar. And if you're also say I will kill anyone in my path and you don't murder anyone, well, then you're not a killer either. So like that's one thing, kiddies, in your promos you want to stay away from, unless you are actually going to kill a character off and do a murder angle, which is cool in my opinion, especially with what I do with kidnappings and whatnot. And if you were going to change somebody, you could make them believe that I kidnapped them, killed them, and that they're gone. But we could bring them back later as re-radicalized in a heel turn if we need.
You could not bring them back. Just hire a new Jack and takes care of everything.
That's possible too. Sil, I know you got some business you got to take care of, man. So I don't want to hold up your Seidel Dojo stuff, man. I make your money, brother.
Yep, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you folks next week. I got to attend to some Side Dojo business. We are absolutely slaying it with our crew. If you want the best training in pro wrestling on the market today, come out to Side Dojo in Clearwater, Florida. You can hit me up via DM on Facebook at Chris Silvio, and I'll be happy to direct you to training. Other than that, catch me every single Thursday right here on HMG Light the Fuse. Genocide 000, look for more of her. And in case you didn't see, she was having some retweets and some Instagram stories shouted out by Billy Corgan this week. So
wow,
what's next?
Very cool.
I don't fucking know, but watch for Genocide on NWA Power. Boys, I love you. Listeners, thanks for your support. I'm out.
Y'all later, Sexian.
What did we learn? I have two questions. First off, should Blood Guts and Glory be on TV next week for free? I mean, it's a double cage.
Is that what it is? It's next week for free?
On double cage match on TV, 2 rings.
Absolutely not.
Okay. And secondly, are we closer to getting the triple cage now? A cage on top of a cage on top of another cage.
I think you know that he'll mark out and do it just for that, because they're fanboys who run a company. But why would you want to keep making yourself look like WCW? What do people think of WCW at the end? They
were rotten.
Yeah, they lost because they were rotten, and because there were too many old school guys who came in to sycophant a paycheck out of it and not give a fuck about the business. And they've done a little of that, but if you keep making people think WCW, at the end of the day, WCW lost to WWE. So
we haven't seen a triple cage match in 20 plus years, you know. Like it's a match.
That's the demographic that is watching your show that remembers all that fucking shit. I don't care if you get DDP, Jimmy King, and whoever the fuck else you want to fucking do, bro. You get Joey Pants, and maybe you might do a throwback nostalgia, but that's gonna make things look hokey, especially when you're going, I'll fucking die in the ring. Now bring out that movie reference. Like, we're at way too far ends of the spectrum. So I'd stay away from it and do your own thing, man. And they haven't even had a Hell in the Cell, but now we're gonna have a double cage. Let's crawl before we blow all this off and run towards the finish line, you know.
All right, well, let's wrap up the last couple of segments and matches here. So you got Eddie Kingston, John Moxley comes out. See Michael Nakazawa, as he was mentioned, he was going to fight Eddie Kingston, as Eddie Kingston and Moxley want Kenny Omega. Nakazawa sitting in a steel chair in the ring. We hear Kingston come out. He makes his way out, cuts his own music, says he's not doing the sports entertainment crap, tells Nakazawa to get out of the ring, calls out Kenny Omega, says he isn't putting up with this crap. Omega does, comes out in a suit with sunglasses and holding a mic of his own. Triple Champion says that.
Where's the Impact title?
Yeah, I thought that was weird. There was no Impact Championship.
This is the Impact segment, and they didn't do shit. Impact looks like shit now because of what they didn't do last night, bro. This was the Moose This was fucking Callahan. This was Eddie, and this was Swan. All needed to be in this segment, and not even. And here's the other thing too. How is Omega dressed?
He was dressed like, I mean, he was dressed good, but
yeah, he looks like a champ. What color?
All gray. Yeah, he wasn't dressed
gray with a baby blue tie.
Yeah.
What were all the guys in the clique dressed as earlier in the fucking limo scene? Everybody's wearing
black.
We're a heel tag team. We're a heel faction, except for this guy. He wears gray and baby blue.
Clearly, Kenny Omega has been shopping at Nick Aldis's suit shop.
What are you going to do? It's the same as last week with the guy who I liked in the next match, Camacho, or whatever the fuck his name is, wearing the all white last week. At least this week he's wearing Ultimate Warrior shit. I don't know, whatever. Like these are the simple archetypes. If everybody's wearing black in your crew, do not stand out that way to do that. We are trying to paint a scene picture here, and things like that really irk me, bro.
Well, this is what I was telling Colin over the weekend when Kenny Omega won. I was like, this is not good for Impact. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to be great for Impact. This is not going to be great. You just had.
It would have been if they would have done business for Impact.
I mean, but we've been watching Impact for so long, and we've been watching. I knew that this wasn't going to happen. I knew they were going to do it the right way. I knew that it was going to get buried, and it's just. And you mentioned no one came out throughout the whole night from Impact.
What if it was just Moose showing up and
that would have been something?
We had a Kenny, oh, big man, take it easy. And Moose don't say shit to him. He just comes over and takes the Impact title off of Kenny's shoulder. And Kenny's got to either fight him right there or let him do it. And Moose just takes it and goes back. Now people are like, Kenny Omega just got punked by Moose. He's going to have to go to Impact this week. Do you think people might actually fucking tune in from AEW to see Kenny have to face Moose on Impact ground? Absolutely. We got none of that, bro. So the Forbidden Door is nothing more than a fucking glory hole at this point.
Yeah, at this point, Impact, unfortunately, it just looks even worse. They look second rate compared to
bad, bro. Even a moment with D'Amore in Con backstage.
Why didn't D'Amore show up? Hey, Kenny, here's yours. You're being served. You have to show up this week to defend the Impact title. If you're going to be our champ every week, you're going to be on Impact Wrestling. Something. They didn't do anything. Well, so after this interaction between Kingston and Nakazawa, he then puts Nakazawa in a chair like he's going to break his leg. Moxley comes out. What was it? Brandon Cutler tries to come out, but Mox throws him. But before Brandon Cutler could get out of the tunnel, Mox knocked him out. It was weird though, because I didn't like how and I'm not criticizing a wrestler here in this regard. I'm criticizing acting. I didn't like how Brandon Cutler was selling in the background. I don't know if you noticed him. He was like in the corner and you could see his head like, oh, like he was reaching, like he should have just acted like out. Like, but you could see him in the background. You could see Don like looking at him, like get up, go, but he wasn't doing anything. It was horrible selling in the background there by Brandon.
I just remember him coming out of the tunnel and kind of being thrown. I didn't have too much of a problem with that, but if you saw him pulling focus when he should have been laid out, then that's something that maybe he should have done there because he's not selling the being from Mox, or he's not up enough to go help his boys. I had a problem with standing there with Nakazawa's leg in the chair. Break his ankle. Fuck it. It's only one of my boys, but yeah, dude, break fucking Big Ray's arm. We don't need him, MSG. MSG, just fucking punch his teeth out. I don't care. I'm Ben Hamin. It doesn't affect me. No, I'm going to fucking be like, if you fucking do that to my boy, you're a dead man right now. Better be careful what your next move is, right? And they lowered the stakes out of here. Omega being smarmy and cocky and trying to be funny is not working. Not when you keep saying he's the best wrestler of all time. And then, unfortunately, I felt bad for it because him and Swan in that Impact main event, because it didn't go the way to make them shine the way they should have. And all I can think of is that they switched Impact's business out here because there wasn't enough highlights to even show from that match to get the story going forward. Maybe they just want to sweep it under the rug.
Well, he just popped me in the chair. 9 days. He's going to defend the title. 9 days live tonight on Dynamite.
Yeah, dude. So,
only because I'm an anime fan here, but I just got what Kenny Omega is going for. he's going for this Japanese animation character from the show My Hero Academia, All Might. Now that I look at it, the blonde hair, the glasses, the suit. That's who he's trying to emulate.
I mean, that's awesome. That relates to about 6 people in the world. So fucking great stuff. I mean, let's really say, boy, this doesn't connect with anybody, but these 6 fans who love Mighty Might anime, they fucking get it, bro. They get it.
I just got that. I was just thinking, I was like, oh, he's All Might. That's what he's trying to be. So after that, we get a great interaction between Taz and Christian Cage.
They just don't know how to make single stars over there, bro. That's a big problem for them. Whether it's Jade Cargill, Kenny Omega, even Cody. Darby's really the only one that they focused on helping to get over. And even then, they've backtracked plenty of times on that, but they don't know how to make individual stars over there.
So Tony Schiavone is backstage with Taz and Christian Cage. He starts by talking to the human suplex machine. Taz brings up Christian Cage, but before he can really say anything, Christian Cage walks up. Taz tells him that after barely getting past Powerhouse Hobbs last week, he'll soon have to get by another member of Team Taz in Ricky Starks. Christian goes on a little bit of a rant here about how Taz used to be the guy, talked tough, backed it up, but since he's arrived in AEW, he hasn't done much of the latter. And he, as the former, he goes on to mention that, he doesn't describe to the win or lose theory, instead claiming that you either win or learn. He says that last week Hobbs learned a lesson, and he says if he has to teach Stark one next, he will. That's fine, because eventually they're all going to learn that they're better off without Taz altogether. And he also noted that Taz wishes that Christian could do what he's doing because he retired for 7 years and came back, and Taz can't do that. Great interaction between Christian and Taz.
Yeah, 2 seasoned professionals with 20 plus years experience, 30 plus years experience, really under their belt. And that's where you see some things be amateur and some things be very professional. And I thought this was a good scene between the two.
As well, I agree. Then we get I thought was a good match here. Penelope Ford taking on Chris Statlander in a women's match. Chris Statlander, of course, accompanied by freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and the returning Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
This is a quick match, but Chris Statlander picks up the win here after Orange Cassidy prevented Sabian from getting involved, and she hit her Big Bang finisher for the win. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, she should have even beat her quicker, to be honest with you. I thought what's her name, Sabian, did a good job, better than looked more in-ring competent than I had expected her to look.
Penelope Ford.
Yeah, and Penelope Ford, excuse me, and then fucking alien Statlander, she is in great shape. We talked earlier about people putting on the COVID weight or being lazy on the Friday locker room earlier. Stevie and I, this girl during her knee injury has done the exact opposite. Her diet's in order. She's been putting in the reps in the gym. She looks like way better. Not that she was sloppy. She was just a little bit, soft when she first started in AEW before she got hurt by Nyla. But fucking now you can see she's been working her ass off. And to me, as an office guy, that would make me want to put it on her. Be like, dude, this girl is serious about the opportunity we've given her. Let's build her as an individual. What's not helping them, and this makes it feel like some mark out shit, she should not be coming out even with the best friends. That's a dumb thing to even put them with her, but she should not be coming out to fucking Where Is My Mind. If this guy's want to flex his big fucking wallet, then go buy Intergalactic Planetary for her and let her come out to fucking Beastie Boys, dude. Because this stupid shit with Where Is My Mind, that's not even that. We don't even relate that to Orange Cassidy, but just because Tony likes that song on his fucking iPhone, that's going to be it for everybody now. So that actually hurts her as an individual when there's money written on her. Like I said, this company doesn't know how to build singles guys. They can't even bring in a fucking Ethan Page. They can't even have a guy who goes and grabs the brass ring. Now they're paired together, right? Like they just don't know how to get individuals over.
We got a couple more matches to get through here. I don't want to spend too much time on this. AEW Trios match, The Factory, Nick Camarado, Aaron Solo, and QT Marshall taking on the Nightmare Family, Billy Gunn, Dustin Rhodes, and Lee Johnson. The Nightmare Family, unfortunately, does not pick up the victory. It's more about after the matches where we have the Nightmare family, or QT's family, I'm sorry, the factory, they came out with Cody's bus, as in they took Cody's bus without him knowing. So after the match, as the schmoz continues between the gun club, the Sons there, and they're fighting in the ring with the factory, QT Marshall escapes, and as he's about to get on the bus, Cody Rhodes pops out of the bus, starts beating him up, and I think Chris Silvio got out of here got out here just the perfect time, because your favorite person made an appearance, Ben.
Brutal.
She jumped up on top of the bus.
Brutal, bro.
I was like, why is Aubrey on the bus?
What the fuck choice is this? Aside from throwing Aubrey off the top of the bus, like bumping her so she takes them. She didn't. We have a match that wasn't too bad. QT Marshall is really getting it in the story, although he wasn't registering when he was getting punched in the face, and that was making me real mad. But the rest of this match I really did kind of like, to be honest with you. I like that Billy Gunn's got his ribs taped, selling the fucking injury from last week. Goldust would look good, even though he had to no sell some shit just because it's AEW bullshit of how they put it together, and he's probably like, whatever. Then QT exits, takes the chicken shit high road, and they're headed toward the Nightmare bus. And it's supposed to look like this thing where we know Cody's going to come out, but we can see Cody sitting there waiting for him. QT couldn't see that. Got to protect our shots a little bit more. Cody comes out. They go to the top of the bus to fight. And, you know, when you put a figure four on top of a vehicle on somebody, it hurts that much more. So we had to go up there to do a figure four. And Aubrey comes up there. You couldn't look more stupid.
I didn't understand why she
couldn't look like more of a dumbass who doesn't get it. Why am I here? Why wouldn't Aubrey Edwards go when they're saying, Aubrey, you got to go up there? Why would she have to go up there? Yeah. If anything, it's him putting it on there, putting the fucking Snavitz on his knee, and then for some way, like he gets away, and then Cody should chuck him off the backside of the bus onto a safe porta pit, but at least or Cody can undo the thing and he's going to hit him with one other thing. And QT just backdrops Cody. And QT, even though selling his fucking knee, has some heat leaving. And then we're going to go forward in the storyline. And Cody took the big bump. And it's oh my God, what happened to a moment, but we don't get to find out. Instead, I got a referee who oversells. And I'm looking at her going, why the fuck are you even in this scene? So it ruined everything.
It did. And on top of that, you know, if she's going to be on top of the bus, you know, she's pulling from the scene, you know, you've got QT Marshall tapping out and she's like sitting there talking to him like, no, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter.
Just complete retardation.
And then I got hot right afterwards because within 10 seconds, the match was announced. We have QT Marshall taking on Cody next week. I'm like, can we at least have 5-10 minutes where it's realistic? Not, Tony Khan just made the match. Like, oh.
And then they even did a bit on AEW on Rebellion where Khan's there with his little entourage of, and she's in that too, you know. And they bring in Daniel Spencer and, Brian Hebner, and Khan gets his little thing in about, you know, the Hebner's screw job or whatever. But I'm looking at these refs and I'm thinking to myself, one of these things is not like the other. Of the four of them standing there, it's just it's ridiculous because this girl is not prepared for TV. And I don't care what affirmative action hire you've tried to do and whatnot. She's never enhanced any match that I've seen her in. She's only drawn focus. And now to have her in a scene, just so cringe, bro. So like, how did this even get to paper that she would even be in it? It has no reason to whatsoever.
I don't know. I will say though, you know, to the credit of AEW, at least, you know, as I was watching this match, I was like, well, you know, this is everybody on the card right now has a story. So at least everybody on the show is doing something.
Yeah.
You know, QT, you know, I'm sure, you know, while he gets
it's strange how they do these things, whether it's them selling for their fan base or maybe it's their idea. But I remember somebody saying QT looking like Tony Soprano or something like a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what that was in reference to, but I'm a huge Tony Soprano mark, obviously. Then in the graphic this week, they got the Nightmare click behind him, and he's got a short sleeve button down, the two-tone fucking Italian fucking casual dress shirt looking just like Tony Soprano. And I'm just like, you better be careful because I'm going to be uber critical if you think you're going to fucking recreate the Soprano family and not do things the right way, because that's my wheelhouse right there, bro. So I'm interested in seeing what they're doing, but they had the potential there, but I was just awestruck that he made that choice to even put her in the scene. It killed everything instantly, killed it.
Backstage, we finally get an update on the Miro Kip Sabian relationship. Kip Sabian is walking with the cameraman, and he says, "I don't see what you guys think this is a big deal is. I'm just gonna go talk to Miro really quick." So he walks in, he approaches Miro and says, "Hey, Miro, sorry I haven't talked to you." And then Miro just beats the shit out of him, throws him into anything and everything, throws him into the locker room, the walls, and then eventually puts his hand in between the door and apparently breaks his arm. And then he ends it and goes, "Okay, we're good." And then leaves. And I was like, yes. I was like, this is great, because what is Kip Sabian going to do? You can't do shit in that situation. You have to consider yourself lucky that he only broke your arm.
How do we even feel about this? So let's look at it from a wrestling standpoint. Do you like Kip Sabian?
No.
No, he's a heel. He's a little douchey, snotty heel. Do we like Miro?
Yeah.
Now, because he beat the shit out of him, but Miro is getting heat on a heel.
That's true.
So we have supposed heel in Miro, but we love him because he's a superstar from WWE and whatever. So now we have baby faces getting heat on the heels, with the heel with no chance for retribution whatsoever, and breaks the guy's arm, and that's just the way we're leaving.
Unless they're trying to flip it and make Kip the baby face, the sympathetic guy who's going to have to be bullied by Miro.
That doesn't even look good on paper, does it?
Oh, I don't think it does, but I'm just saying that's what they could be doing.
Then why would you put it on your TV?
Well, look what else they're putting on the TV.
Aside from that segment of I didn't mind the beating. The beating looked fucking wow. But I'm going, here we have baby faces getting heat on heels, and it goes against the fundamental nature of psychology. And it's not going to pay off the right way because of it.
Oh, you were breaking there for a little bit. Getting a little
was I? Everything in that segment was great. Everybody did a good job then.
Main event here, TNT Championship, Dark Order number 10 versus Darby Allin. They did a little bit of a package earlier, trying to kind of hype it up, that being that number 10 was hand selected by Brody Lee himself, and that he would like to go out there and win this match, in honor of Brody Lee. It wasn't a bad match. It was two, I guess, faces, if you will, face versus face. There wasn't really any schmoz or interference too much as far as between Dark Order and Sting. In fact, Sting almost played the enforcer in role here on the outside to make sure nobody messed with anybody. But Ethan Page did interfere in this match. He attacked Darby Allin. There was also a moment there where I guess Dark Order number 10 kind of stalled the member there to whether he should attack Darby after that beating, because he didn't want to take advantage, but eventually tried to hit his finisher, did not get the victory. Darby eventually does pick up the victory here, which what I liked as I watched this, I liked how it ended. It ended up with the roll up, but the way he rolled him up, he used the guy's leverage because he had him in a full Nelson. I was like, all right, great way to do a roll up. I liked it.
Yeah, he had him in the lock. He wasn't going to let it go. Thought he'd tap him, did the roll back and stacked him. I thought that was fine. I think afterwards, that number 10 could have been in the ref's face a little more. He tapped but it was a good to protect them both without having to do a big finisher. Although Darby does go to rip number 10's mask, and that's
weird. I thought that was weird. And then they shook hands. Like it was all good. I'm like, oh, you just ripped my mask, but we're gonna.
That's very heel. But I've been uber critical on number 10. I mean, the guy looks like a fucking classic wrestler body. It's what you want on your fucking roster. But I'm also into protecting Luchador, which is what this is about with ripping the mask, because that's the biggest thing. But this guy will take his mask off on Instagram at the drop of a hat for a Planet Fitness selfie.
I was going to say he's not Mexican, so maybe it doesn't matter to him.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, then fuck it. Never mind then. And let's hold up Brody's name stuff, because we got to get over off of Brody. You know what I mean? So I probably would have written that in there too, but I don't know. You're only going to get away with that trick so many fucking times. You know what I'm saying?
The reason why I say this shouldn't have been the main event is number 10 hasn't been established as a star enough for this to be a main event match between Darby Allin. And I get what they're going for. It's the TNT Championship. they want to make it vital that it's the big title that they're going to promote every week, and they're building up Darby right now. I guess it just tied Cody's 9 defense records tonight or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what they're doing, but this didn't deserve to be the main event tonight, this match. Not saying it should have been on the show.
Just the title, so yes, it should have been the main event.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you could have opened up with
I
it.
see what you're saying, but at the same time, the fact that it's the main event makes the title mean something. You see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily about the guys in it, but putting it in that spot, it does.
Yeah, yes, I get it. I totally understood. I just meant, the start point. But yeah, after the match, once again, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky attack. They attacked Sting. They ambushed both Darby Allin and Sting. Then we see the Murder Hawk monster run down, make his way for the save, scaring them off. And then Tony Schiavone plugs the upcoming ONE MMA.
Did you hear him call him Lance Armstrong? And then go, Lance Armstrong Archer. He started calling him Lance Armstrong. I'm like, if Lance Armstrong ran in, that'd be funny. And he's probably on enough gas that he probably could fucking do it. He doesn't really have the testicles, though, to do it.
The
testicular fortitude. Well, why not get that joke in, too? Why not? Fucking get them all. But yeah, dude, this was a good baby finish where wrestling acumen versus submission. I thought that was very smart to do too. They didn't take any stupid choice, like big chances. So I didn't have a problem with that. Then we get all the run-ins at the end, and Sting gets fucking chop blocked while Johnny Polo fucking distracts over there. And I don't know, just Ethan Page has got it. They should have stayed with the North. Josh Alexander should have come with them. Scorpio Sky should be being built as an individual, and instead we've got this weird mismatched team of the two. We're going to get a Sting Darby Allin versus fucking Scorpio Sky and our gimmick match, but we're not going to get Sting. We're going to get Lance Archer and Darby versus Scorpio Sky and fucking Ethan Page. What kind of draw is that? That's not doing anything to help them as an individual, which is what Darby is your champion now. Sting's going to get one bat shot on fucking Ethan Page and people will be pumped about it. And then Scorpio Sky will take the big finish from Archer and everybody will be up that way. It's that simple. And how show stupid to book. I didn't think this was a good choice at the end of your show to put heat on those guys.
Last thing before we wrap this up, I was just curious from a creative standpoint. Would you continue to let all these characters have similar names? Page, Cage, no. Cage? Way too many, right?
Yep. That's a big mistake. It's a big mistake to even hire him in that way. You can rename him Ethan, whatever you got to do to get it over. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. A rose by any end of the name would smell as sweet. And it's confusing, and they're going to do some little funny wordplay thing with it that they think will be cute for 1 week, and that'll be it there. So
they're all babies. They'll do Page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll be a thing like that. Then it'd be easy to write and it'd be funny, but it's not going to get anybody over, and it's only going to point out that we're not smart enough to have guys individually branded. We're creating confusion on purpose.
Well, guys, that's it for another edition of your Light the Fuse review. We got done with giving Ben Hamin some time to go relax before he's got to take on the beautiful people here. But you check them out, the Beautiful People podcast on the Russo brand, as well as patreon.com/the beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
As well as you can check me out, guys, each and every week on my podcast.
Suck my balls, suck my balls, my balls, my balls, suck and drink.
Suck My Balls South Park Review. We're on all podcast outlets as well as the video. YouTube continues to kind of censor it, but it's on our Facebook. So if you hop on over to our Facebook page, just type in facebook.com/SouthParkPod. It'll come right up there, pinned at the top of our profile. So if you'd like to see the full video, Scott Tannerman Must Die, the #1 episode argued by South Park fans. We just reviewed season 5, episode 4 is up for all of your download pleasures. Go ahead and check out patreon.com/StevieRayTV. And new episodes with Jimmy Tibbs and the Sonny Ono are up right now, as well as the face-to-face with last week. You can catch up on all of our clips there, too, on Stevie Ray TV on YouTube. And if you'd like, you can become a Twitch subscriber on twitch.tv/StevieRayTV. And then you don't have to wait for me. If you're like, fuck Matt, having to wait for his editing, I don't want to wait 6 to 8 hours to upload the next day. Just watch it on Twitch. And you can watch it immediately. As well as check out patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Brand new episode of the Wednesday Locker Room is up there right now, and hopefully we'll get an episode of the Friday Locker Room. We'll see. And
I downloaded it before I got banned, so it'll be up there.
And of course, you can also check out Impact Attack tomorrow with Colin Wysong and the Vet. Next Level Podcast is up on Vin Hamin's YouTube and Hamin Media Group YouTube. It was a good episode. I watched it before I recorded. Yeah, yesterday.
It's on Patreon too now as well.
Awesome. And of course, check out our sponsors, thebrosters.com, ZordosOliveOil.com, Roadcaster Pro, and Pro Wrestling Tees. Ben, what do you got before we go?
Yeah, man, you're covering it all. Look forward to hanging out with Angelina Love and the beautiful peeps, Velvet Sky, here in just a minute for their VIP meet and greet. Later tonight, be working with Amber Neal, matchmaker from Houston, on her celebrity matchmaking show. Very cool outside project that way. And Larry Hankin going to drop tomorrow. So we're asking all you hardcore HMG supporters to help us with any promotion that you can, subscription wise, or just, retweets and whatnot. But to be able to work with more people outside of wrestling and help develop their brands has been a very, very cool endeavor. And we've been working hard to get those foundations built, just like we did with SRTV and April and Idol on the A show. It was a great show with Billy Ray Valentine with them this week, talking conspiracy, which April and Idol are very well versed in. So very cool stuff. And I see that there's a big day at Von Lila Studios taping the Hustler Rip Rogers podcast with more extra guests, special guests running in, and it looked like Rip's having a good time, man. And I'm glad to see that. So thanks to Beast for going out there to Von Lila Studios and making sure we get all this content filmed for the future, man, because I think we're building a whole library of genius level, teachings, whether it's Rip or now with Larry Hankin or, with Vince Russo. This stuff is going to be, you don't want to say once they're gone, but it'll live on, hopefully, in longevity, some of these great lessons that HMG is able to capture.
It popped up on my LinkedIn. I was checking yesterday that I think I was going to send over to video editor production job in the Dominican Republic. I'll send that to you.
Really? I might be, dude, I'm ready to fucking bag it and be out because YouTube's, I've had enough. So
follow us on all platforms. Plaja, want to plug that. Hamin Media Group, check out some of the propaganda on Instagram at Hamin.
Oh, dude, Plaja killing it with the propaganda horseman video stuff this week. Everything's in a state of flux, and we just gotta wait for our wave. We gotta wait for the stars to align, whatever is going on, man. And I'm not gonna make bad business decisions that put us all in jeopardy just because of haste. That's the worst thing you can do as a general. So I've been listening to Art of War, but I'm trying to apply those lessons in everything that we do. I suggest you guys listen to it too. But again, thank you to everyone at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group who's thrown $1 or whatever in if they want to. Like I said, the shows are free there. It's very kind that you guys have done that this month in supporting us. So that's very cool. I just wanted to give everyone a shout out that way. And thank you, MSG, for all the great production, and the Chris Silvio being one of the best hosts at HMG and making it AEW Light the Fuse the sexiest podcast in all the land here. So Allah, on behalf of that baked boy MSG, it's me, Randy Treverson Leahy, heels over strong. As we light them up, it's time to go hang out with the beautiful peeps, and we light the fuse. Allah.